people who watch! The Manosphere spreads a lot of false information about sex, and today we're going to look into it. Hold on tight because we're about to bust 12 completely ridiculous facts they have wrong. Fissart, alpha, beta dynamics. The Manosphere often promotes the idea of rigid hierarchical structures in relationships, akin to those observed in wolf packs, where individuals are categorized as either alpha or beta. However, human relationships are far more nuanced and complex than simplistic animal hierarchies. Human complexity. Unlike wolves, humans are not solely driven by dominance hierarchies. Our behavior is influenced by a multitude of factors, including culture, upbringing, personal values, and individual experiences. Attempting to fit human relationships into a narrow alpha-beta framework oversimplifies the rich tapestry of human interactions. Mutual respect. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, empathy, and understanding, rather than dominance and submission. Partners should strive for equality and collaboration, valuing each other's strengths and supporting each other's growth. Rejecting toxic masculinity. The alpha-beta dichotomy often perpetuates a toxic masculinity, where dominance, aggression, and emotional suppression are glorified. This can be damaging not only to individuals, but also to the dynamics of relationships, fostering power imbalances and undermining genuine connection. In essence, human relationships defy simplistic categorizations like alpha and beta. Instead, let's embrace the complexity of human interaction, prioritize mutual respect and understanding, and reject harmful notions of dominance and submission perpetuated by the Manosphere. Second, size matters. The myth perpetuated by the Manosphere suggests that a man's sexual prowess is directly correlated with the size of his genitalia. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. Sexual satisfaction is not determined by inches, but by the ability to understand and connect with one's partner. Skill over size. Contrary to popular belief, it's not the size of the boat, but the motion of the ocean. Research consistently shows that factors such as communication, attentiveness to your partner's needs, and emotional connection play a far more significant role in sexual satisfaction than physical attributes. Individual preferences. Every person has different preferences when it comes to sexual experiences. What might be pleasurable for one person may not be the same for another. It's crucial to focus on what brings mutual pleasure and satisfaction, rather than getting caught up in arbitrary measurements. Body positivity. Promoting the idea that size matters can perpetuate body image issues and insecurity, not just for men, but for people of all genders. Embracing body positivity and celebrating diversity in all its forms fosters a healthier attitude towards sexuality and self-esteem. In conclusion, the notion that size determines sexual prowess is a damaging myth perpetuated by the Manosphere. Let's debunk this misconception and recognize that true sexual fulfillment comes from emotional connection, communication, and mutual respect, not from inches. 1. We can't choose when our period starts, how long it lasts, or when it starts. Periods happen about once a month for most women and last between 3 and 7 days. Unless we're sick or worried, we can usually predict when they will happen. They generally begin between the ages of 9 and 14 and end when a woman hits menopause, which usually happens in her late 40s or early 50s. As with an open cut, you have no control over whether you're bleeding or not. It hurts like hell. Hormonal birth control is the only way to avoid having to go through this every month, but many of us strongly avoid it because it affects our health, weight, and mood. Just grow up and get your girlfriend tampons while I'm on this subject. If it makes you sick, you're a child. 2. Just because a girl starts having periods doesn't mean she's ready to have a baby. Almost all girls who give birth before they turn 14 have more problems or harm to themselves, like prolapses, lifelong infertility, pelvic injuries, etc. Most of the time, they have to have cesarean sections because women in poor countries die while giving birth. Their bodies are still too small to have an adult hip or carry a 10-pound kid. There was a reason why most aristocrats waited a few years after getting married in the Middle Ages before they got married. 2. A woman can have babies in the middle of her cycle. You can still get her pregnant after that week, though, so don't take a chance. Ovulation isn't always exact. Small things like what you eat, your stress level, the weather, how much sleep you get, and even your mood can change your androgens, and even the most well-reviewed natural apps don't work. If you're not ready to think about abortion, parenting, or Plan B, you should not risk anything by having sex without protection at all. 3. You can make a woman pregnant even if you pull out or think you didn't ejaculate until you were not with her. Sperm production doesn't always happen at the same time as the last orgasm. It might lower it a lot, but it's never a sure thing. And this way causes a huge number of unwanted pregnancies. We wouldn't need birth control at all. If it always worked, put a rubber on it again. You don't want to get an STI at all costs. 4. A baby is born when only your sperm makes it to the egg and turns it into a zygote. That's the only way it can work unless we're talking about IVF, which you would remember having and paying for. That baby will have half your genome and half her genome. It won't have any DNA from her ex-partner. Any sperm in her body would have died a long time before you showed up making fun of her. But what if there were 3 of them? It will still have your or his genes in it. All the time, without a doubt. There aren't any kids going around with 23 extra genes that they got from the milkman. 5. No, a woman who gives up her virginity does not take on the DNA or permanently chemical bond with that guy. You've read that the body stores alien DNA from sperm and forms an oxytocin bond with the first guy who sleeps with her. These things don't happen. No research at all supports the idea that male DNA comes from having sex. If you're carrying a lot of DNA from another person and you're not pregnant, a cousin, postpartum, or have had a bone marrow donation, you should be very worried. This is because your immune system will likely try to destroy it as foreign or cancerous, which will make you very sick. Also, DNA can be found on any surface. For example, a head louse that pooped on your head would leave DNA behind. Your healthy gut is full of millions of germs and bacteria from other places, along with a lot of strange DNA. This girl's ex-boyfriend's DNA won't have any effect on you, though. It's not gonna happen. You're acting strangely. 6. For a woman to get pregnant, you are the only one who needs to finish. If a rape victim gets pregnant, she doesn't enjoy it. The female orgasm doesn't help with reproduction. It's just fun, so we do it. If it weren't, I think most of us would stay away from guys in the bedroom. 7. Lesbians can and do want to get pregnant. Look at the top. 8. Women haven't evolved to love anyone who sleeps with them, but men have. Man has evolved to not feel anything at all. I think this is really stupid, so please give it some thought. Does your college girlfriend from the first time still love you? Do you think she's crazy about you and wants you to come back to her? Almost certainly not. Not because she's a thought or a hoe, but because you were both just teenagers trying things out and she's probably married or engaged by now. In the same way, men wouldn't kill themselves, have mental breakdowns, or commit suicide over a woman who didn't want to date them anymore if they didn't get mentally connected to her. Do guys like casual meetings more than women do? Yes, they don't have to worry nearly as much about being raped or getting pregnant. But sex is sex. It's pleasurable for both men and women, and it can be emotional and heartbreaking for both. 9. Women don't like being raped. A bit of a no-brainer, but being raped is very scary and upsetting. A woman who wants to be submissive and desired in the bedroom because she's been taught it's disgusting and shameful to want. Sex is very different from a woman who wants you to physically assault her when she doesn't want to have sex with you. I could write an entire article on this topic. No sense at all. 10. After having sex, the vagina doesn't change shape for good. Even though her ex was huge, the size will go back to how it was after about 30 minutes. So, unless she broke up with her phallic god 15 minutes ago, you're not thinking about it at all. If she's used to a different man in bed, she might react differently. But isn't that a good thing? Wouldn't you want your friendship and time with your partner to be one of a kind? See a doctor if it's making you nervous, but you're making a big deal out of nothing. I've never met a woman who dumped her partner because of his penis. Personality, for sure.